All right. Glad to be here. My name is Kaifa Yates. I am the program coordinator for the Martin Luther King Jr. Center here at Sacramento State. I'm also an alumni here as well. I have my bachelor's here in liberal studies with a concentration in math, and I also have my master's here in education technology. So I'm happy to be here and be able to moderate this panel. This is a discussion on you're going to just make sure I get it right? Bridging the gaps among and between students of African descent at the California State University. So we have amazing panelists who are going to be sharing their experiences on how they feel and how they been in being here at Sac State, being a student of African descent. A little about myself. I am a student here from African descent as well. Both my parents are from Liberia. I was born in Houston, Texas, so I never actually been to Liberia, but my home was nothing but Liberian food, Liberian culture. So learning how to navigate that as a student was definitely something different, definitely something that will that changed my perspective on how I interact and do the work that I do here. You don't really know the culture until you're actually embedded into it. Growing up, I thought, honestly, that anybody who had my same complexion, they was doing the same thing I was doing at my home, right? Eating the same foods, watching the same music videos and music. And when I got into the 7th grade, I think it was the awakening for me, right? It was definitely something that I had to relearn and definitely have to navigate. So I will definitely allow these panelists to kind of explain their stories of who they're from. So what we'll do right now, I'll allow each panelist to say your name, your major, and then which hometown are you from? You're from Sacramento, and then which culture do you represent being up here right now in front of these amazing guests? So we'll start with Brother Frank on my right-hand side.
Thank you for having me. My name is Frank Oponchicheku, and I'm doing my master's in finance, and I'm from Ghana.
Hello, everyone. My name is Obina Eze. I am an engineering major, electrical, and I was born and raised in Sacramento, California.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Olaoluwa Dideji, and I'm currently a junior pursuing a bachelor's degree in business with an emphasis in marketing. I was born and raised in Nigeria. I just moved to the US 3 years ago.
Hello, everyone. I'm Grace Balou. I'm from Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast. I'm studying business administration. My concentration is marketing, and I was born and raised as well in Côte d'Ivoire, and I moved to the US 5 years ago.
Hello, everyone. My name is Blair Nelson. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee. I moved to Sacramento when I started coming to Sacramento State about 3 years ago. I'm a kinesiology major pursuing my doctorate in physical therapy.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll jump right into it. So the first question is going to be pertaining to everyone on this panel. So you all are going to answer this question. The first one is, what does bridging mean in the context of fostering inclusivity and diversity, particularly within educational institutions? Anybody could jump into that.
I can start because it kind of plays into a campaign that I have started here on campus called Professors Are People Too, because I think a lot of times, especially when you're in the BIPOC category, you go into classrooms and you feel small. And then when your professor happens to be a different color, a different culture, come from a different background than you, it can make it a little bit more challenging. So I think in a way that we can bridge or foster more inclusivity is to see more professors that look like us, and maybe even if they come from specific backgrounds or cultures, dress like that. I want to see that. No, I'm not an international student, but I did go to Kenya, and I spent a week and a few days out there, and I stepped off the plane and I just cried because I'd never been in a place where everyone looked like just like me, or actually I was lighter than everyone else there, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing. I want to see this all the time. So it would be nice to see more professors, if you come from a different place, embracing your culture more on campus.
I can go next. For me, talking about bridging in inclusivity and diversity, kind of emphasizing on what Blair said about having people look like us. I also think that when applied to education, bridging refers to kind of connecting the gap between ideal and reality, right? In the context of inclusivity and diversity, it means actively working to create a safe place first for every student, and also create a great educational environment as well, where students from various backgrounds, so for example, from Kenya, Nigeria, we have Ghana here, Liberia, me from Cote d'Ivoire, feel really welcome, really supported as well, and have equal opportunities to succeed. Because let's say if you come from here, it's okay, it's a little bit easier for you. It's not easy, but at least you have a certain, I would say, you're ahead compared to the others. So that'll be something that really means to me when we talk about inclusivity and diversity. Everyone should feel welcome, have the same opportunities as well to succeed. And also it involves breaking those barriers and fostering a sense of belonging for everyone. Thank you.
I would go next. Bridging the gap could mean different things to different people. And for me, bridging the gap would be connecting two worlds. A bridge is a structure that connects two parts of two different places. So bridging the gap would be aware that we're two different people, but we are trying to connect with each other. It's kind of reaching out to the other side. So when I came to the USA, I was just 17 years old. I came by myself, and I went to Modesto Junior College. And if anyone has been to Modesto, we cannot have an idea what Modesto looks like. It's okay, I'll give you guys an idea what Modesto looks like. I would ride my bike, and I would be like the only black person riding my bike down the street. And I could just feel the stares. People just staring at me down Modesto. But it was a nice place. I was new, and I just felt like, oh, this is probably just normal. And then with time, I got acquainted to the US tradition and all of that. And I got to Sac State, and I realized there are so many programs here to help people that look like me. And to me, that was really, really warming to see that that gap is being bridged. There are spaces in which I can meet people like me, people that have the same goals, aspirations, people that have been through the same hardships, people that I can look around and be like, this is diversity. And that's what inclusivity is about. It's not about ignoring the fact that, oh, okay, this person hasn't been through anything. It's about bringing people of different backgrounds, different skin colors, different gender together and working together to attain a better future. So that's what bridging the gap in inclusivity is. It's being able to make everyone feel welcome and safe within an educational space. So that's my opinion.
I'm going to try to cover a few points, but it's mainly to answer the question. So for me, I am a JUCO product. I transferred here 2 years ago from American River College. I got my associate's degree in mathematics, physical science, and I'm also going to file in for my associate's degree in engineering because I qualify. When I first came over here 2 years ago, it was very overwhelming. I feel like the transfer process wasn't what I expected it to be. I kind of felt like the minority for the first time. And I just someone that grew up in, Natomas. I was in a Black American neighborhood, and even at that, there was also this thing between Africans and African Americans, and we couldn't share certain things. So us Africans, even though we were born here, had to assimilate to African American standards, or you just felt like an outcast. So over the years, I had to like foster some confidence, some resilience, and have to stand out. But then it led to a new problem, which was imposter syndrome. So what I mean by that is you're currently an engineer and you're the only Black individual out of 30 people for 5 years straight. For me, when I was dealing with stuff like that my first year at Sac State, I was like, I need to find a program that's for me. So currently, I'm the vice president of the National Society of Black Engineers. And that's just a club on campus that's meant to help people like myself, improve on their skills, have a network, and really just foster their sensibility and when it comes to pursuing their own academic careers after college. So currently, because of joining this club, I have like an interview upcoming this Tuesday in for an internship in San Francisco. And this is what we were talking about here. Like, we need to find clubs that really help us. And what I think in terms of bridging the gap, what it means to me, I would say we should have our own building on campus, like the one dedicated to the D9s, the Black Student Union, and my club as well, NSBE. I feel like if we have our own building, that's kind of where we can build our own foundation without so many extremities. Thank you.
Thank you too. I want to start mine by just giving the scenario that happened in my class. In my class, we are about 15 people in the class, and I am the only Black person, or let's say even an international student in the class. And I remember at one point in time, one of my derivatives, the professor said that we are happy to have you because you bring in a sense of diversity in the class. Because it looks like almost the whole class are all United States, let's say, citizens, and I think one or two people are Indians. But I am the only person coming from Africa. So I remember there was a project that we did in the class that we were supposed to research on businesses, how cultures or diversities affect business growth. So I chose one of the companies in Ghana that I know very well. I did a research on the company and I presented it in the class. And the teacher, my professor, was so much amazed because I gave a perspective of a different mention altogether that is different from what they are usually are known to here in the United States. So I gave a different perspective. So what we are saying is that bridging the gap is that sometimes you may not know what is happening at the other end. So if you're able to put together, there you can see what is really happening at the other end. By listening, giving a listening ear to the other side, or learning from the other side to know what the other side also have to offer. So I think this topic is very good, so that at least those of us here with let's say, people, they call us people with color, or let's say different cultures, we can also bring diversity here on campus, and also to people who have not been to any other places before. That's it.
Okay, we can clap that up. All right, amazing. Thank you so much. So we'll go with question number 2. I know, Daniel, you spoke a little bit already about your experience and your challenges, but I wanted to get more in depth with that. And so what specific challenges do students of African descent face at our university? And how do these challenges impact their academic and personal experiences?
So that's a really good question. First of all, I would like to start with saying I am an international student. So my perspective is completely different from other Africans or other black people like me. So this is unique to my experience. So coming to the USA, all I knew is I wanted to study in the USA. I was excited to come to the USA. I was excited to view a new culture. That's what was on my mind. Then when I got to the USA, I started to read the fine prints of the conditions of me to be in the USA. As an international student, I pay way more than a resident student. And not just that, I am limited to work just on campus. And I had to file for taxes the other day, and I actually had to pay the US government. And that was just, all my friends were getting refunds, and I was like, wait, you guys get refunds? Then I realized that financially, it's really hard. It's really, really hard. When I came to the USA, it was 500 naira to $1. It shot up to 1,300 naira to $1 some time ago. It almost doubled. And I receive phone calls from my mom every day telling me, Laulu, what am I going to do? Like, I have to finish what I started. So every day, I made sure I went to different organizations to see how they could help me. And I went to CWC, I went to the MLK Center, I even went to the ABCC conference in Santa Barbara, just trying to seek out ways that can help people like me. And I don't get financial aid. And I'm alone in this country. I came here when I was 17. I'm currently 20 years old, and I've been able to fend for myself to an extent. I have friends and people that have helped me a lot, but my hardest challenge is finding those scholarships. And I would like to thank Kafkar for giving me a $500 scholarship, which might be minute, but that went a long way for me. I was able to buy for me books for that semester. So that was honestly amazing. So seeing spaces that can help Africans or black people like me with those aid to be able to finish school would honestly be amazing. Because some people, it's not like they are lazy, or it's not like they're incapable, or it's not like they don't have the means to. It's just that in the moment, they need a little help. And seeing more scholarships to people of the African diaspora, or just people like me, as a small way of, I know this might not help all your problems, but this would help you go a long run, that would be really amazing. And that would be the biggest problem I faced. And another problem I think I have faced on this campus would be action. I've been to a lot of spaces that talk about helping black people, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. I want to see more of that. I want to see it actually happening. I want to feel the presence, you know? I want to feel those things being said actually being done. And I would love to see the African or black faculty on campus helping the different groups. I'm part of NSA, and I would love to see the faculty come to NSA meetings and help and hear what the NSA students are going through and help the NSA students. And my friend Obi here is in NSB. I would love to see or hear professors who are in the engineering or STEM departments coming to NSB and helping these NSB students, helping them, tutoring them, mentoring them, giving them different things to do. Because we have these groups, and it's just students within those groups. It's hard for kids to lead kids. We need people with experience, people who have been through these things to help us, give us guidance and vision, be able to attain our goals. So I would love to see that. I would love to see the faculty being actively involved in the life of students. And there's no better way to do that than going to these organizations. There are several organizations. There's the BSU, there's the NSA, there's the NSB, there's the Black Student Health, which was just created. Those are the ones I know of. I don't know about the others, but there's the MLK also, and there's the CWC, Degrees Project. I would love to see faculty helping all these organizations, helping Black students come into our meetings. So those are things I would love to see, not just talk, action. So those are things I would love to see, and those are problems I've realized from my stay in Sacramento. Thank you.
I did want to briefly add really quick in conjunction to the financial insecurity. As a degrees coach, Grace and I are both degrees coaches, and one thing I see quite often is food insecurity. It's really painful to see students come into my office and tell me that they haven't eaten since 1 or 2 p.m. As a kinesiology major, that health and wellness is extremely important to me. In the Black and African American community, finally we're starting to wake up more to it, but it's so crucial for us to have that food and nutrients. So it would be nice to see more places on campus that offered authentic food related to Black and African culture that is also healthy. We can do both. It's possible.
I would like to add my own points. So in terms of challenges I've had since coming here, I would say, well, what Daniel mentioned, tutors. So to elaborate on his point, I actually introduced the whole tutoring sessions to NSBE, because the reality is there isn't enough alumni to come back and help us students that are currently struggling with either our math classes, our physics classes, chemistry. We tend to have to fend for ourselves, and there are people I know that may be undecided because they are currently struggling with their math classes. So what I'm trying to do is encourage that one-to-one mentorship, because for me, up to the point, I'm currently 24 years old, but I pretty much don't have a mentor. And the reality is, when you're growing up in an African household, greatness is expected of you. Everyone is your competition, regardless of your race. You kind of have to be first. And they push that on us in our youth days, because we have to fend for ourselves. We're also instilled, because of the media, that we have to work twice as hard as our Caucasian counterparts, which I believe is wrong, but to a certain degree, that's reality. And what my friend said over here, they are pushing for diversity in the workforce, like for PG&E, for SMUD. They need that inclusiveness to make them look good. And sometimes it will come at the cost of neglecting our own personal intelligence, which I believe is also wrong. It's just, there's a lot of things I want to say, but I also want to get into touching on mental health as well. I believe that there isn't enough talk about mental health. We as Africans, as Black Americans, we tend to just, per se, dug it out. We just have to endure the burden of just being a minority in our classrooms, because in reality, 6% of the students on campus are Black, and that's just what it is. So we have to create these spaces that allow us to be ourselves. Hence why I started going to the MLK Center last year when they had that reopening, and now it's like a safe space for me.
I want to touch on that real quick. Or you want to move on?
Say it again.
Come again? No, I want to add something.
It's okay. Go ahead. Yep, you're good.
That's a quick thing. So touching about experiences as an international student as well, something that happened to me was social economical barriers as well. I was a transferred student from Santa Rosa Junior College to here, and from back home country, when you come as an international student, I agree with Daniel, that's a different story. So you do have a lot of things happening for you that you don't understand, and there is no one to explain to you as well. And the fact that we don't have any financial aid, even any help. I've been applying to scholarships for a long time. I remember in my community college, I got some of them. Here, it didn't happen before the scholarship for the CACPR, so I kind of want to thank the committee for that too, because it really helped paying my books for this semester as well. I got the international waiver, but these are the only scholarships that I got since I transferred here, and it's been 2 years. Other than that, you do have a higher tuition to pay as an international student here. You do have different expenses that weren't part of your expenses before, and it's really stressful. Because I know that when our parents bring us here, they do big sacrifices. So by the fact that we can't really concentrate on these studies, but we're worried about the around situations, make the experience really difficult on campus as well. Thank you.
And then before we go to the next question, I did want to mention that with Daniel, this is why I do the job I do as a program coordinator for the MLK Center, is that Daniel came to my office and he explained everything he just explained to y'all about his difficulties being an international student. And once I heard that, I mean, I never actually experienced talking and working with a student like that and hearing all the different challenges he's having and be able to support him with different resources and see where he's at right now and continue to do that growth is always what warms my heart. So I just want to say, Daniel, you're doing a great job. You're moving forward, and even despite all the challenges and barriers that's in front of you, you're finding ways to overcome. So I just want to say that for you. All right?
Thank you.
And then for Obi mentioned about having the pressure of your family being in the African household. I wanted to agree with you about that. Yes, the pressure is very real, right? They want you to push to another level that beyond what you can even think about. I know my father was one who always told me that this is the last name, Yates. You know, your last name means everything. You are honoring me, you're honoring your grandfather, you're honoring your mother, and so you have to continue to keep pushing forward. And so those things are always instilled into me every single day in the work that I do. And so it's a good thing, and it's also a challenging thing, and sometimes we do forget about the mental that happens because it's a lot of different things that you're going through in your head that you're feeling almost like you're an imposter. Right, that you don't feel like you belong on campus or belong in certain spaces. And so you have to try to overcome that. And as an African student or as an African American student, you kind of have to figure out ways to navigate that. And that's why resources like CWC, MLK Center, and our Black faculty and staff, we all play a role in dismantling that as much as possible. So what? It's in Africa, yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, panelists, for your insights as regard to your experiences here, especially the international students. I came here as an international student way back when, did my master's and PhD in analytical chemistry. And I'm a professor, so I just wanted to touch on that. For those of you, many may not know, chemistry is a very, very wealthy discipline. It's very rich, it has. And I wanted to mention that if any of you were doing anything chemistry, there is what we call Student Affiliate of American Chemical Society. And right here on Sac State, we do have one, and you can be a member of that. And there are grants, there are things that they can offer. If you're an active member, say you want to make a presentation, they can pay for you. in my present university, I used to be here at Sac State. Now I'm in California North State University. That's the university that has medical school, pharmacy school, school of dental medicine, and anything healthcare. So if you have people who want to, we have diversity scholarship, full scholarship, you know. There are seven colleges in our university, and only one is undergraduates. That's the College of Health Sciences. The rest of them are graduate school. That's for medical school, dental school, the rest of them. But in our school, our college, there is scholarship. There definitely is scholarship, and it's something that you all may want to look at and check out Sequoia Hall. That's where chemistry is. American Chemical Society, we do have the money. That's chemistry. It's lucrative. But do people want it? They shy away from it. Okay, I just wanted to chime in and tell you that. And there are many other organizations. I'm speaking from Nigeria, Nigerian organizations that would have scholarship, you know, that at least one-time scholarship, 500, a little here, a little there, goes a long way to help. If I had known about you 2 years ago, you would have got a scholarship because we had a national convention here and we had scholarship to give. See, space like this, if I had known, it was in 2022. And I was part of the organizing committee, and our local chapter had scholarship to give to whoever we wanted. You didn't need to be a member of the group. You know, we just said, oh yeah, this student needs help, and that's it. So I just wanted to mention that, you know, so this is the sort of gathering that you get to hear and share ideas and learn about people's background. And speaking of you saying, please spare the professors. You're right. Now, I've already told you, I'm in chemistry. Now, when you talk of minority, that's where it is. It can be, well, I love it anyway. But the thing is that you have to be secure in who you are. Because if you look at STEM, you start from the base. It's like a pyramid. By the time you go broad, first degree, you go to the master's, it tapers. By the time you go to PhD level, say in chemistry, it's just a handful. Just a handful. Not to talk of being an international. As you can tell, I walk into the class, okay, maybe she's a cleaner or something. Yeah, so it's normal, you know, type of, I just shrug it and, yeah. So, but those are the sort of things you would expect. Is it normal? It shouldn't be, but it happens. Okay, you must have this sort of space, have mentors, people you can speak to, people that can guide you, and making connections with people. Like you were talking about help in chemistry, physics, mathematics, you know. There are people, they may not be in Sac State, but they are in the community and they can point you in that direction or even help you directly, you know, with those physical sciences and mathematics.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Definitely want to take that. And actually, that's good that you bring that up. So now the next question is actually, now I'm going to throw a curveball. I know I'm going to go right to you, Frank. So the next question is actually talks about what the educational institution could do to help support a sense of belonging. So I'm going to ask Frank, and I'm going to throw a curveball to you as well. How can educational institutions like ours create a sense of belonging for students from diverse backgrounds? I'm going to add something on there. How can we market that? So we talked about different scholarships and opportunities and resources. but he knows it, right? But how do we get that information?
Exactly.
How do we get that information?
That was what I wrote down. I saw that Prof said that if I had known, if she had known, and that is where the gap is. And who is helping us to link us to where the knowledge or the resources are? That is our challenge. These are our challenges. These are the things that we wish that we could get, let's say, a coordinator or something sort of, to be able to bridge the gap, to help us reach out to where the needed resources are. Because, like what my brother said, it is not just about, scholarships. And those of us from Africa, if we are frank, like my name is, we all know that we all know that, frankly speaking, the depreciation in our various currencies in our economies, something else that we can spend years to, try to explain it. My brother said 500, now 1,000 something. Yes, I just came here, moved to the United States also just about, let's say, barely 7 months ago or 8 months ago. The Ghana cedi at that time, I think it was around 8 Ghana cedis to $1. Now it is almost like a 14 Ghana cedis to $1. So just imagine that my parents are, every month trying to send me money over here. It's like it has almost doubled. It has almost doubled. And to some of us, they are even young, so they are lucky. Some of us who have wife and have kids back home. So you can imagine the sort of pressure, apart from, where you are learning and where you are going through here, then the financial side also comes on top of it. So what we are saying is that we have a lot of challenges, and we want people to give us the listening ear. So, Prof, we beg of you, when you go out there, when we close from today, please, we want to reach out to you. We can get your contact so that the folks that you know, you can also link us to them so that we can help bridge the gap. That's it.
I would love to add to what Frank had to say. The struggle is real. I would like to mention that. And we have a lot of intelligent African students. All my friends, I would like to say, have above a 3.3 GPA. And what's the average at Sac State? Don't quote me. 2.5 is the average at Sac State. And you have several African students boasting 3.5s, 3.9 GPAs. And you ask them, how much do you get in scholarships? $0. The talent is there. It's there. The essays are there. But the thing is, I hear there's like over $100,000 or $200,000 in scholarship, which goes to waste every year. We don't know where that money is. We don't know how to find that money. And it's just really surprising to me. And I speak to my friends who are student athletes, and they tell me they're on the full ride scholarships. I understand that they're amazing athletes, but I realize that priority should be given to people who show excellent academic prowess in a country they are not even from. I think that's something that should be noted. So I just wanted to mention that.
We have a question in the back. Dr. Wazi.
Okay, it's me. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Oh, it's a question. You want the microphone back there? But I had my hand up earlier on, actually. I'll be frank. And pass it on. Okay.
Thank you very much. My name is Collins. In response to just what you said, I did my PhD at University of Toledo. I got a lot of scholarships. a lot of them, because, of course, I was almost 4.4 over 4. So academically, I was top. I was also involved in societies in the university, so I was in the executive. 2 times a week, I go to volunteer at Shelley Mission, where they give homeless people food. So that's community service. In my church, I volunteer as an usher. The Toledo Marathon, I volunteer. So academically, I was top. I volunteer within the university. I volunteer outside. I got, the graduate school Merrifield scholarship, which was about $3,000. I got it 2 times in a row. Nobody has ever done that. Why? There's no other person who can compete. Academically, I was top. Community service, I was there. So the thing is that you need to prepare yourself to tap into this. So it's easy for us to say, oh, we don't know where it is. The first thing as a student is you need to know where all the resources is. Every year I got scholarship from the graduate office, I got from the department, and of course, I was a staff of the university because I was teaching. I was doing my PhD and I was an instructor. But because I was an instructor, I get my salary every month. So I won't say because I'm a staff, I'm also a student. I don't know if you get the point. So I got the benefit from being a staff, I got the benefit from being a student. So my life as a PhD student was fun. You got the point I'm making. The point I'm making is go look out for where the resources are. Don't limit yourself. It's easy, you're not going to ask the professors to go and open the door for you. I think that's being lazy. You need to go out to look for it. I'll give you an example. I did a master's at University of Cape Town. When I was doing my master's, before I went to do my master's, I was working in Holland, then I went to Cape Town to do my master's. I look at adverts. After my first year, I got a job on campus as a student liaison officer. And what they were paying me for that job was a part-time job, was enough for me to, to live very good life because I went out looking for it. I look at every notice board. I read all the advert. These days, that was a long time ago. These days, we just want to be spoon-fed. I read all the notices, look at all the applications when I was in Cape Town, and I applied. When I got to Cape Town, it was like all-white university. All white. As you mean white, it is white. I formed a society called Awake the African Spirit. I formed that society in University of Cape Town. And you know what? The international office and the deputy vice chancellor's office was funding that society. Funding all our activity. Every year we have what we call Awake the African Society dinner. Everybody, the ticket is oversubscribed. Everybody in the university want to come because I just said, look, why should we have a university in Africa that is all white? Nobody talks about Africa. And I said, no, we need to do something. And we formed the Awake the African Spirit Society. Today it still exists in University of Cape Town. I formed it, and it was fully funded. The point is, find a need and do it. So when I hear people talking, and I just say, we shouldn't complain. Go out there. The resources are out there. It's not the professor's job to help people to look at it. What you need to do is, who are the professors in Sac State that are black? Or people of color. Have you reached out to them? It's not saying the professors should come to your meeting. Yeah, if you invite me, I'll come, but I won't go to your meeting if you don't invite me. Why will I do that? I'm quite busy. But if you come to me and say, we're having this event, I've never turned down any invitation from any group that asks me to come. So it is your duty to reach out. How do we know all the professors that are people of color, even if they're not people of color, but you hear that they support initiative? Reach out to them. When you reach out to them, they will reach out to you. I think that's the way to go. There's a lot of resources in this country, a lot. But you need to assess it. And assessing it means you need to go out of your way to talk to people, not people coming to you. You are the ones that need help. So you are the guys who are going to reach out. Once you reach out, they're going to do something. But don't sit down and wait for it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh man, like people are lining up to respond, but I wanted to say something a while back, and since I have the mic, I'm going to say it. Let me ask the question: how many people in here are professors right now? Just show of hand. Okay, I see you. Thank you. What I want you to take note is that every single person that raised their hand, and I'm retired, so I'm emeritus, except for one person, is from another country. So the experiences you guys are talking about, we've been there and done that. So I think going all the way back, that's what immigrants experience in trying to go forward. I'm not going to do a call-in, but I'll just say this. For the brother that asked to see more faculty attending the meetings that you have, I retired from this campus after about 25 years, and we have been to meetings, a lot of meetings. Ernest is still here. There is cultural taxation, and we really do attend these meetings, have attended them. We started some of these organizations, started some of these groups. So give us some slack if you're not seeing us as much at these meetings, because we're attending other meetings. But we have your back. You know, when the scholarship thing came up, the scholarship money was less, and some of us in the meeting decided right on the spot to increase the amount. So we have your back, and we understand your struggle. We've been there also. Never give up. We know the pressure. I could not tell my family that I was not going to complete school, that I was going to take a semester off or something. That's just out of the question. So we know where you're coming from, and believe me, we have your back, even if you don't see us at your meetings.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bowie. I think it's my turn now. Then maybe you'll get it out. Is that okay? Okay. I've been patient ever since for some time. Three things. Thank you for sharing. I would like you also to think about the question as you wrap up. What are some of the ways from Mississippi to Accra, right, and Cote d'Ivoire and Nigeria and so on and so forth, where and how you can build bridges, how you can increase the level of communication and engagement and so on and so forth. I think it would be great to kind of think about that in and out of the classroom. And then, so we can think about that, but let me kind of make comment in terms of the Center for African Peace and Conflict Resolution. What we have done and will continue to do, we used to organize a panel of this nature, Bridging the Gaps, for many years between BSU, CWC, Cooper Wilson College, and the African Students Association on this campus. Very, very lively. And at least nothing else to engage in the communication. I hope we'll continue to do that. This year, with support from the Office of International Programs and Global Engagement, we started having mixers for the African international students, of which, you know, Grace and Daniel, at least, and Frank have been part of that. We would like to see more participation, more people coming to those mixers, right? And we've tried to do that in the afternoon and the evening, even with some Nigerian, Ghanaian jollof rice.
A Liberian one too.
Maybe that would be added to that as well. And Senegal, and you know it. We would like to see more of you come to those. We've also brought in people from the Career Center, for example, to talk about how to prepare your resume, how to go for interview, and just a career plan, right? we'd like to see more people come to those sessions, and that when you come to those sessions, you are prepared, you take the information and you make good use of it, and maybe even share with others. We've had sessions on even scholarship, right? And I was quite discouraged when one of those conversations, somebody from the scholarship department said that the Grace talked about the international student waiver for both graduate and undergraduate students on this campus were underutilized. That means the people who are not applying, and almost everybody who applied did get the funds, right? Even for the work of the Center for African Peace and Conflict Resolution, for almost 10 years now, we've been giving scholarships to students thanks to the VLG family that provided that. You know, Frank and Daniel and Grace are beneficiaries of that, plus 2 others for this year. For a while, it was a struggle to get people to apply. And even sometimes, we don't see our black students applying to these scholarships, right? And the person who gave that money was an international student himself from Africa, and exactly knew what it means to be an international student, and had given that money with the hope that it would benefit especially the international students or people of African descent. So of course, being in a university environment, we cannot discriminate. You have to have the criteria, you basically award the scholarship. So we were not quite pleased when on many of those years, either not many people applied or not have as many of our black students apply to the scholarships. And even this year was basically 6 applications that came in for 5 application awards, and we gave only 5 people came to the interview with the board. And surprisingly, as Dr. Bowie mentioned, it went from $300 initially to $500 because he made a plea and the board members there responded and increased that scholarship, right? So you have to be in the ring, so to say. You need to be able to stay attuned to these kinds of things. And also we do provide student assistant positions. Frank is our grad student assistant for this year. And for international students, you have to take that extra step to get the paperwork and be able to, it's possible, but you just have to be able to know how to, you have to be able to be willing to step up, be motivated to be able to step up and be able to do that. And where also is that a will, there is always a way to try to make that happen. And then finally, we got your back, as Dr. Bowie mentioned. I think you need to also reach out. Sometimes I do good some of these meetings, even without being invited. At least nothing else to listen to what's going on and connect with our black students in the BSUs and so on and so forth, or even those in my criminal justice clubs to some extent. But you have to make a bit more effort, not when things are getting rough, right? Make a bit more effort, and when these meetings are called, please try to respond. I think it would be great. Thank you.
Question? Oh.
I wanted to speak on what you talked about as far as making those things marketable. I teach middle school. I also taught high school for about a decade or so. There's a disconnect. There's a disconnect in the money that is being made available to students and how students find out about those things. And that is where you make those things marketable. How are we getting these different scholarship givers and providers into the schools? How are we getting them into the classrooms? How are we getting them in front of parents, in front of families? Not only that, I noticed that there is a difference between myself and the students that are here, and a lot of people that are here. I am what is considered in a lot of African societies an Akata boy. He laughing, he know what I'm talking about. So being that we are here in this country, there are more resources available, easier to access. They aren't as easy for us to access. They're hidden from us. They're kept from us. We're told we're not good enough. Not only that, some of the generations before us, our parents, grandparents, they were never exposed to any of these things. So how can they show us to get to these things? How can they show us to get to these different resources and these different platforms to access these things if they don't even know that they exist themselves? I myself, growing up, the only way I seen myself going to college was if I played a sport. That was the only way. Now notice the difference between my growing up, the way I was taught in my household, and theirs. They're told from the get-go, you can get it, you can get there no matter what. I was only told I can get there if I'm good at a sport. Not only that, but you talk about how to make these things marketable. Well, let's look at how these scholarships are made marketable. We honor and we glorify and we make heroes out of all of our sports figures, but what about the people that taught them? What about their teachers along the way? What about the professors? What about the people who run their businesses that they start because they're not intelligent to run them themselves? They can only financially start them up. Why aren't those people being highlighted? Why aren't we highlighting the flaws with athletic scholarships? Because they got to renew it every year. And not only that, but once you get that scholarship, you can't get anything above that amount or else they deduct from your athletic scholarship. Are we looking at that? Are we talking about that? Are we bringing that about when we're talking about scholarships with students? Are we also talking about how if you have an academic scholarship, there is no cap. There is no cap to the amount of money you can get. So if you get $1 million in academic scholarships, you just got $1 million in academic scholarships. An athletic student cannot do that. So again, we have to look at, well, how are we glorifying our own scholarships that are not connected to athletics? How are we connecting our different businesses to create scholarships for our students? And are we, that we're showing up to the meetings, we're there, are we getting to the point where before they even get to college, we're gonna equip you with everything you need before you even get here so you can feel confident about applying to college, so you feel confident about transferring from a JUCO to another one, because I'm a JUCO transfer myself. It was a struggle. Again, my parents didn't know. My grandparents didn't know. My older brother didn't know. So who's going to tell me? My friends from the neighborhood couldn't tell me. Because again, what's being shown to us in our household, how we're being shown we can make it as black people in this country is strictly athletic survival or doing something illegal. So again, where are the different universities? Where are the different professors coming into our junior highs, even our elementary schools, to tell the students, you can get here. I'm going to be looking for you in the next 10 or 12 years in my classrooms. That's how we make these things popular. That's how we market these things. And we also have to stop splitting our students. We can no longer split students that come strictly from the continent of Africa and those that are born here in the States, because we all coming from the same place. We're all coming from the same place. And we all face the same type of racism in this country and the same type of biases in this country, no matter if we come from the homeland or we from the hood. It don't matter. We still facing them. So we don't need to split. We actually need to partner up and come together. We actually need to go into our hoods from the homeland. We're scholarship, throwing it out there, from the homeland to the hood. Where our professors from the homeland are trying to bring our people from the hood into our universities. That's how we popularize it, in my opinion.
So, first and foremost, I think that it's crucial that as mentors, right, as mentors for the next generation of students, it's crucial that we do not take our students' testimony personal. We can't take it personal. Our experience was different, is different than their experience. It's a different generation. So we could try to tell them what to do or to put your boots and strap them and do whatever you got to do it. And try to discredit their testimony. We're doing the same thing that we get done to every single day. What type of example is that? Start there.
Thank you. Thank you.
Second, the gap continues, and I have no doubt that every single of these students up here, they're doing what they know to do, what they have, their social capital, their whatever capital, navigational capital, whatever they've been taught, they're trying to use whatever they have. But I go back to my first point. Mentorship is the key. How do we mentor right? And listen. So we could decrease that gap. Gracias.
All right. Thank you so much. So we have about 5 minutes left. So we'll take one more question, and then we'll allow each of these panelists to say one last statement, and then we'll be done. We appreciate everybody's opinion and ideas. So, so one more question.
Mine is just a very quick question. Money is good. We've spent a lot of amount of time speaking about financial scholarship, but let me just segue a little bit to, I'm sorry I didn't get your name, the lady from Ivory Coast. Apart from all these experiences you guys have talked about, how was it like transitioning in terms of language barrier? You happen to be the only Francophone speaking student on the podium. So were you preparing, planning that, okay, you've made up your mind, I'm going to go to the United States, the official language there is English, but my background is French. So how was the language barrier for you entering into this country together with all the adversities and challenges that you guys have experienced?
Thank you for this question. Actually, that's a really good question because I wanted to touch on that a little bit. So I've been wanting to come to the United States for a long time, and I'm really close to my parents, so we kind of planned it before. It was all planned. I was coming in during holidays in USA, but I will say that it was still difficult, really difficult, because coming in holidays to a country and then living here is a different story. I've been living in Ivory Coast since I'm born, so I'm a French speaker. I had to readapt. I had to make sure that I'm probably doing 3 or 4 times more effort than the English speakers, because not only the school will be difficult, but you will even have problem to understand what is said. So for example, during quizzes, I was in a different system. I was in a French system, and the American system is totally different. So even I was at the beginning, it was really difficult for me to catch up. Honestly, by the time the quiz will be done, I probably at question 5, and the quiz is like 12 questions. And because I have to translate first, I had to translate first and then understand what it's saying and then answer. But I feel like that was, those efforts were supposed to be made by me only, not everyone else, because you're the one coming from. You're the one wanting to understand, you know? So if you want to be here, you have to earn it. You have to deserve it. So it came all from me. I was watching a lot of series out there without even subtitles. Even I didn't understand anything at first. And I did make some effort. You want to add something?
There's support for you here. That's what I'm asking. On the university here in the US, was there support? Was there network? Was there a friend helping you? That's what I
won't lie, not really, because you're by yourself. You came here, you chose to come. You could have gone to Paris, for example, but I chose to come here, so not really, no.
Thank you. We're actually out of time. Dr. Wazi, you want to do one more question? He has one more question if you want to. Yep. No,
thank you. I'll try to be really quick. It's not a question, but it's a comment, okay? So first of all, thank you so much for sharing your experience on campus, adjusting to this new culture. I have a couple of things to say. I'll just say 1 or 2. The first thing I really want to say is I really want to emphasize on the aspect of mentoring. I think the idea that you would like to see faculty that look like you, right, be in your spaces. It's one of those ideas I have also heard consistently on my campus. I'm in the CSU, but in San Marcos, you know. And I think it's such a genuine idea. I think that from your experience, it's really going to be valuable to you, and I can relate with that. I want to say that, I wish that this conversation was happening with some of the key people on this campus, that are directly responsible, to provide some of these type of services and programming for you. I think that it would have been really, really useful to them. I think the way that we can make change as an institution, really, I don't think it's really to discredit, the experiences that people are sharing. Because I think that from these experiences, as we listen to them, at least for me, when I listen to these experiences, I'm thinking more institutionally, what can we do, systematically, in a sustainable manner to actually stop this from happening. So when you think about students expressing the need for mentorship and connection with faculty, even though on the other hand, faculty may not have time, right? But as an institution, what type of programming can we think about that can actually bridge that gap, So maybe is it a faculty-student mentoring program, that you can think about, that when a student comes in here, you can try to connect them with faculty. Mentoring has been hammered here as something that is really, really key. That's one thing that you can think about. Now, the last point I wanted to make was that as I'm listening, I'm also seeing that there is a disconnect between what students are saying that they need and also what people are saying that has been provided. So I hear from some of the faculty here saying that, they think that students have to be the ones to actually go and look for that information and search for that information, but it doesn't have to be that way. As an international student, you don't have to put in that much effort just to look for information. Again, when you think institutionally and systematically, what can the university do to make sure that that information is readily available to our students, for instance? So when you think about the Office of Global, I don't know what it's called here, Global Education, or the International Office in charge of exchange and things like that, right? If they were here, for instance, and they listen to something like this, they can say, well, what can we do to make sure that before an international student comes here, we have a list, a database of different types of scholarships that they can be able to apply, and then they actually have someone that can help and support them with the application process. So when you think systematically and you think institutionally, you don't have to go through that much stress, that you don't have to go that way long just trying to get information. So I think that if we look at this differently, we can think about this and try to come up with different programs and policies and institute different aspects on our campus that can actually make life way more easier and way more easier for the students. They are already going through a lot to have to stress this much for so many other things. That's just what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I want to plead with you that I have a class. I wanted to just give a small comment and then if so that I could join. I don't know if you can hear me. Okay. What I want to plead with us is that can we have a sense of how can I help you instead of I struggle, get it, so you to struggle to get yours. And we have an attitude of saying, how can I give this information to you? I think that is the biggest challenge from us coming from Africa and what is in the Western world. And until we stop that, I mean, when we say racism, sometimes it baffles, even though I am black, I know that we may say that they may say you are black, whatever, but for me, I think that it goes beyond that. It is not about they being racist, but it is about us punishing ourselves, even than them whites being racist or whatever we say it to us. Because we believe that because we struggled, you must also, even if I can help you, you must also struggle to get yours. Meanwhile, here, it is like, how can I help you? They are willingly and, I don't know which word I can use that is much, let's say, can express what I want to say than the word willing. They are able or capable to offer you support. But in our world, it's like, I did it. You must also go and do yours. So we are begging of you that a lot of things that you did, it works for you. If it works for you, share it. Share it. It's somebody. Let somebody pick it from there. This technology that we see here in the advanced world, that is how it is. Somebody does the basics, that just does a simple coding, just like GPS. Somebody designed a simple thing, and now because GPS was developed, look at a lot of technologies that has come on top of GPS. You have Google Map, you have Uber. Imagine that if GPS was not available, would Uber will operative now? Now we have Uber because of GPS.
Good point.
So there must always be a foundation. But where we come from, it's like, I built my foundation, I destroy it. I don't, here they say, I don't get a damn about it. Go and build your own foundation. Please, if you are able to build a good foundation, help us to build upon that foundation that you have built. So we can also get there. If we are crying of racism, the best thing is that we support each other and get there. Don't say that I built it, I destroy it, go and also build your own, so that by the time I will get there, my fellow that had the foundation has been built upon it, has roofed it, and that person is living in it. I am struggling to now create my own cement, an iron rod to fix my own house. We are begging of you. It may be that we are lacking in some kind of knowledge or whatever, but if you are privileged to have that knowledge, share it, teach, educate. Thank you, sir.
I think on that note, oh yeah. That was perfect. On that note, I'm going to conclude the panel. Thank you all for sharing your experiences, being vulnerable, and we appreciate y'all attention.